Have you ever felt completely safe until you didn't? That's how I felt last night in my quiet little house at the end of a sleepy street. It had been a long day, and all I wanted was to curl up in bed and sleep. I made sure the doors were locked, fed my cat, Luna, and settled under the covers. The clock on my nightstand read 2:14 a.m. when I was jolted awake by the buzzing of my phone. At first, I thought it was just a notification, but no, it was a call, and the number was one I didn't recognize. Normally, I'd let a call like that go to voicemail, but something about it just felt off. I swiped to answer. I whispered, "Hello," and for a few seconds, all I heard was static. Then faintly, a man's voice broke through.
"Is this Mia Parker?"
He asked. My throat went dry. I asked, "Who is this?" But the man didn't answer my question. Instead, he said something that made my blood run cold.
"I'm watching your house."
I hung up immediately. My hands were shaking, but I forced myself to peek through the curtains. The street outside was empty, eerily still. No movement, no cars. Just the dim glow of the streetlight cast in long shadows. I told myself it was probably some sick prank. But then Luna. She started acting strange. She sat up on the bed, staring at the door to my room, her tail flicking back and forth. That's when I heard it. The faintest sound, a creak, like someone stepping on a floorboard. My heart was pounding so hard, I could hear it in my ears. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911. The dispatcher stayed calm, told me officers were on their way. "Just stay where you are," she said. "We'll handle it." But as I stood there, every little noise in the house started to sound louder. The hum of the fridge, the ticking of the clock, and then the doorknob to my room rattled. When the police arrived, I ran to the door. I explained the call, the noises, the way my cat had reacted. They immediately started checking the house, splitting up to search every room. One officer called out to me from the back door. "Mia, did you leave this open?" My stomach dropped. The back door was wide open, and I knew I'd locked it before bed. By then, I felt like I couldn't breathe. The officers swept the house and came back to tell me they hadn't found anyone. But they did find something else. One of them held up a Polaroid picture in a plastic bag. "We found this on your kitchen table," he said. It was a picture of me, asleep, taken from my bedroom doorway. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. Every sound made me jump. The hum of the heater, the wind brushing against the windows. Luna stayed by my side, but even she seemed tense, her ears twitching at the slightest noise. And then at 4:32 a.m., my phone buzzed again. It was the same number. I didn't answer. But the voicemail changed everything. Then a low voice saying,
"You looked peaceful in your sleep. See you soon."
I called the police again, but by the time they arrived, there was nothing more to find. Whoever it was, they were gone, for now. As soon as the sun came up, I had the locks replaced and set up security cameras around the house. But while I was cleaning up, I noticed something I'd missed before. A sticky note, taped to the inside of my back door. The message was short, written in shaky handwriting.
"You can't keep me out."
I don't know if they'll come back. Maybe they got bored, or maybe they're just waiting. All I know is I'll never feel safe in my own home again.
The cabin lights. I needed a break from it all. Work, the city, life. So when I found an isolated cabin on a rental site with no Wi-Fi and no neighbors, I booked it without a second thought. It was exactly what I needed. Just me, my books, and some peace and quiet. The drive there was uneventful, and the cabin was even more secluded than I imagined. No cell service, no TV, just the sound of birds, rustling trees, and the occasional breeze. Perfect. By nightfall, I'd settled in with a book by the fire. The stillness was almost unnerving. No distant cars, no city sounds, just silence. And then, around 10 p.m., I noticed something strange. Out the window, past the tree line, I saw a faint light flickering. It was far off, but distinct, almost like someone holding a lantern. Probably just hikers, I muttered to myself. But who hikes this late? The light didn't move for a while, just flickered. My curiosity got the better of me, so I stepped outside with a flashlight. The cool night air wrapped around me as I pointed the beam toward the trees. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing. No response. The flickering light remained still, glowing faintly between the trees. I shivered and went back inside, locking the door behind me. It was probably nothing, maybe even fireflies, but something about it felt wrong. By midnight, the light was gone. Relieved, I turned off the lights and went to bed. But just as I was drifting off, I heard it. A faint knock. I froze, my breath caught in my throat. The knock came again, louder this time. "Who's there?" I called out, my voice trembling. No answer. I grabbed the flashlight from the nightstand and crept toward the front door. Peering through the peephole, I saw nothing but darkness. Probably just an animal, I told myself, though my hands shook as I locked the deadbolt and chain. But as I turned to go back to bed, I heard it again. Knock, knock, knock. This time, the sound wasn't coming from the front door. It was coming from the back of the cabin. My stomach dropped. I tiptoed to the kitchen where the back door faced the dense forest. A faint orange glow seeped through the window. I peeked out. The light was back, closer this time. It flickered like a flame, hovering just beyond the edge of the yard. And then, suddenly, it moved, darting left, then right, before vanishing completely. My heart pounded as I backed away from the window. That's when I realized something horrifying. The knocking. It wasn't coming from the door. It was coming from inside the house. I spun around, flashlight trembling in my grip. The beam landed on the living room, a small space with just a couch and a coffee table. But something was off. There was a man sitting on the couch. He was facing the fire, his back to me, completely still. He wore a tattered coat and his head was tilted slightly to one side, like he was listening for something. "Who are you?" I shouted, my voice cracking. He didn't move. I inched closer, gripping the flashlight like a weapon. "I'm calling the police." Silence. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, "They don't come out here." Before I could react, the fire in the hearth sputtered out, plunging the room into darkness. I scrambled to turn on my flashlight, the beam catching the empty couch. He was gone, but the voice came again, closer this time. "You shouldn't have come here." I turned toward the sound, but my flashlight died. Complete darkness engulfed me, and then the flickering orange light returned. This time it wasn't outside, it was inside the cabin. The light illuminated the man's face, inches from mine. But his face wasn't human. It was warped, elongated, with hollow, empty eyes that burned like embers. His jaw stretched impossibly wide as he whispered, "It's your turn now." I screamed and stumbled back, slamming into the wall. The next thing I knew, I was lying in the woods. The cabin was gone. No man, no lights, just the endless trees and the cold, suffocating silence. I ran back to my car, heart pounding, and sped away. But when I checked the rental site the next day, the cabin wasn't listed anymore. And then I saw it. The profile picture of the last person who stayed there. It was me.